Imagine feeling judged every time you walk into a room. Imagine carrying shame, self-doubt, and years of comments about your body that never really leave you. Now imagine someone telling you that the solution is just to go to the gym, a place that can feel like the very center of that judgment. For many people living with obesity, the barriers aren't laziness or lack of willpower or lack of information. They're fear, stigma, and years of emotional scars. In this episode, Dr. Ritva Mettänen and I unpack what that experience feels like, why the current system often fails, and how fitness and fitness professionals can become a place of healing instead of intimidation. Let's connect the dots. Welcome to this week's episode of Connecting the Dots. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Ritva Mettänen, an obesity medicine physician and founder of the Obesity Coaching Academy and a passionate advocate for turning fitness into preventative healthcare. Welcome, Ritva.
Thank you.
Now connect the dots for me. Take me back to the moments in your life that brought you to where you are today. Like we've spoken before, and I know you've got such a wonderful story to capture. So bring us with you.
Long one, a wonderful and a long one. Well, one of the most obvious things why I'm here, why I'm doing what I'm doing is my own journey with obesity and weight loss and my own experience about the help that is available or the help that is not available for these clients. And even though now I'm going to go through some of the really rough moments in my life, even though it's been rough, I am super grateful that I've had all of these experiences because I've gained so much knowledge and experience through them. And it really feels like I know what it is like to be an obese person, what it feels like to heal, what it really takes to heal. And this is something that has been with me, the obesity, ever since I was a child. I've been the child with obesity. I've been a teen with obesity. It followed me all the way to maternity, to the doctor's appointments. My BMI has been 40 at its highest. And now it's 24. So I've been everywhere in that field. One of the most important moments on this journey, obviously, was when I started the GLP-1 medication. Mm-hmm. And the moment when your brain goes silent, that is something that people can't understand. And that moment really taught me how big of an effect obesity has for a person's brain, because it's not just the obesity, it's not just the cravings or the food noise that people describe. It's the whole underlying anxiety, and the amount of bandwidth that it takes from your brain is enormous. And realizing that these medicines really do a lot of good was one of the major points. Yeah. When I started my GLP-1 medication, I had a really great personal trainer at the time. She really understood the need of recovery. She understood what it means for a woman to be on the gym, that we need more recovery, that we need to follow the cycle, we need to follow our rhythm. But when I told her that I was going to start the medication, she really pushed back. And that was my first experience with the fitness world and the GLP-1s. And I realized that must have been like the combination of the lack of knowledge and her own bias, that it kind of stayed with me. And I remember how she kept saying that I could do it on my own. Like, you can do it on your own. You don't need those medications, that it would be so empowering to do it on your own. And she was really trying to speak me out of it and made me feel like starting the medication was equal to giving up, made me really feel guilty for starting the medication. And this is the bias that I've seen in the industry, even after this own experience. So that is one of the dots that had led me to where I am now.
Sure.
And well, there's a lot more. About a year after that, after losing the 30 kilos with the GLP-1s, with the aid of GLP-1s, I got a really strong intuition that this is something that I want to spread. Like, I want to be able to help more than just my own clients. But that took a little moment, or that took a little time to sort of become a more concrete idea of what I would be doing.
Yeah. Can you explain, just because I think that obesity is a condition, and I think that some people don't necessarily understand what that is. Like, can you give us just a definition of the medical condition of obesity, just so that we have that as a baseline?
Definitely. Yeah. So obesity is a chronic disease. It's a chronic disease just like a high blood pressure or a high cholesterol. It's a condition that you need a medication for the rest of your life. It's not something that you can fix with a medication for 6 months and then it's done. Then you're skinny, you're lean, and everything is gone. So it's a multidimensional disease that encompasses both the physical, neurological, emotional, psychological, everything, even the social side of your life. And it really has a huge effect on everything in your life. So basically what happens in your brain is that the hormones or the dopamine circuits don't work the same way as with a skinny person. The endorphins that you get from food are not on the same level that you get from food when you're a skinny person. And these kind of changes that happen in your brain and your hormones and your body overall, they are permanent and they become permanent at some point of your life. And it's really individual whether that change happens quickly or whether that happens over the years, whether you need one weight loss or whether you need 5 weight loss times to get into the point where obesity becomes a chronic disease. But for most people, it's a chronic, relapsing, multidimensional disease.
And like, what is, because the runway, and I guess that makes it complex, right? The runway to obesity is very different for different people. But once you're categorized, once you've hit an obesity, is it BMI? Then there's just so much more going on under the surface that is going to affect your ability to deal or tackle the disease.
Yeah. So basically the body will fight weight loss with hundreds of mechanisms. Historically, for a human being, losing weight has been death. It's been famine. It's been war. It's been a disease. It has meant that you are going to die. So your body has learned these incredibly intelligent mechanisms to keep you at your level of weight where you are right now. And when you start losing weight, that is a stress reaction. That's a huge stress reaction for your body. And so your body will recognize this as something that is unnormal. And it really depends on whether it activates all of these mechanisms right away or whether it happens with time.
So getting to in our society, we just have such abundant access to food and such abundant access to high calorie, low nutrition food. And then that combined with our evolutionary protection mechanisms to not lose weight is a recipe for societal disaster that we're seeing playing out right now. Okay. And then I think it's really important when you talk about your personal trainer's bias. I can sit in that chair because I started my career as a personal trainer. I've grown up on the gym floor. And I think from that perspective, the fitness culture is so, and particularly the professionals are so versed in diet culture and are often quite dysfunctional, a quite dysfunctional group themselves because they've been able to sustain starvation for a physiological outcome. And they just believe that if they can do it, everybody else can do it as well. So what kind of a risk is that for an obese personal training client in terms of creating a safe environment for them to be able to ask for what they need and say, where they are? How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, well, safety is really the number one thing that we need. That needs to be there. It needs to be there when you start working with anyone, when you start working with the body. Obesity comes with an enormous amount of psychological and emotional burden. You've learned to constantly scan your environment, scan the people around you for judgment, for the looks, that even if they are not there, they are a sort of prerequisite. They are your perception of your environment. And they live with an incredible amount of guilt, shame, beliefs, expectations, experiences of failure. And so obesity coaching is really not just teaching them to move and eat right. And they could probably teach you how to eat healthy because they've been learning
Right.
everything about
Yeah.
healthy eating for the past 20 years or something. But it is first and foremost about creating the safe space where you can really lower your barriers, be vulnerable with all the imperfections, show the messy and beautiful real self and the real body, and be there present with the coach. And something that is really important to understand from obese people is that they have developed this amazingly strong surface level personality. They are
Okay.
so used to having this constant judgment, constant jokes about their bodies, that they have learned to speak negatively about their own bodies. They have learned to make jokes about their own bodies before anybody else does, just to avoid pain. And the protective mechanisms are really strong there. But that's also like why safety is so much needed, because they do not let you go below that surface if they don't
Yeah.
feel safe, if they don't feel seen. It's really hard to go to that vulnerable part of you, which is a major part of obesity coaching and obesity healing.
Yeah. I mean, I really, really am aware of the stigma around. I mean, I see the messages all the time because it's also, at least for being a woman, it's also bundled up in the societal expectations of the package that the woman is how you're supposed to show up as a woman. So on the flip side, what I'm hearing, and I think maybe a connection that I had never made to the extent that you've just explained it, is how much armor you have to put on as an obese person to keep yourself safe by the onslaught of judgment that's coming at you from other people who some probably have bad intentions and judgments, and others just don't, and maybe have a insensitivity level that don't really understand that commenting about someone's body could be hurtful. So I didn't really think about in terms of the level of judgment and criticism that this group of people is exposed to is like 1,000x more than the average person, and therefore our sensitivity level to the need for safety needs to be that much more attuned. So
Definitely.
this is the reason that you started the Obesity Coaching Academy. So you've got your lived experience, your practice experience as an obesity doctor, and your client experience as a personal training client. So like how did you start this? Like, I can connect the dots seeing you identify the need, but what did you do? Like, what was your vision as you were building this course?
I really wanted to create a place, or I wanted to create something that everybody would have a chance to get. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not able to go to your doctor and ask for the GLP-1 medication. The healthcare is not able to take care of this holistic treatment protocol that is needed for obesity. So there needs
Mm-hmm.
to be another place for that. My vision was really to bring the framework that I'm doing to the clients. I've noticed over the years that my adherence rate has been close to 100%, and that is exceptional. That is
Yes.
something that I don't like brag with it, but that is exceptional, because the normal adherence rate for medication for
Okay.
obesity is about, 60% within the first years and less than 10% within 3 years. And that is incredibly low,
Wow.
especially when you think that this is a condition that could be taken care of just the same way as blood pressure disease when you had the right coaching, the right guidance, the right support, and the
Yep.
right medication. And so I knew that I was doing something right. And my vision was really to bring the framework that I'm doing, which obviously has a lot of psychological and emotional components in it, to a wider audience. I really wanted to help millions of people through it. And so my vision was that. And I was thinking, like, where can I do this? Who can I train to do this? And the obvious answer is the personal trainers and the gym floor, because the people are there. They go there. I tell them to go there. Every
Sure.
doctor tells them to go there. And so they already have the connection with the personal trainer or the gym floor. And so why not?
So like if we take a few steps back and I'm your client, and like we've started a protocol, and like what does that look like, just so we can bridge the experience they're getting from their doctor to personal trainers, because we like the fitness industry as a whole always talks about bridging the gap between health and fitness, but this is a perfect example of, let's take a scenario, let's understand what you would do with clients and where the handoff goes, and what you would what you would expect from personal trainers when you're handing off one of your clients, and then what the collaboration looks like.
Yeah. So what I'm doing with the clients is very different from what my colleagues are doing. So maybe I'll
Sure.
describe what my colleagues are doing. They do
Okay.
prescribe the medication. They take care. Hopefully, they have the questions of whether you've had any eating disorders or disordered eating symptoms before they prescribe the medication, because that is a red flag if there is some. But they prescribe the medication, and then they might give you a referral for a nutritional therapist where you get to go for once or twice, and maybe for a physiotherapist if you have joint pain. But there's a huge gap there. You have no contact points with the doctor. The next appointment may be in 6 months. And so what I'm doing with the clients is that we meet every month. And what the client needs is a monthly like support session, whether it is with the doctor or with a coach. And most of the times I have to say that I'm not working as a doctor with my clients. I'm working as a coach. It's purely coaching. And so I would love to have a situation where I give the client the prescription, I give them the medication, and I supervise the medication, but then I'm able to send the client to the gym where there is a trained trainer. And the trainer is able to have this first initial discussion with the client that I have now. It's 60 to 90 minutes where I really create the trust and let the client experience that they can actually be vulnerable. And this is a safe place where they can really start the transformation, which is very big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like have the monthly meetings with the personal trainer where they go through not the exercise program, but they go through the lifestyle changes. How has the client been proceeding with them? Have they got any successes? Have they got any challenges? And little by little, with small steps, supporting them to make the changes. And also addressing the underlying emotions that arise, because there is a lot there. Within 6 or 9 months, when the weight plateaus, that is a really, really difficult point for every client. There is a fear of weight gain that arises because historically, when you have plateaued, the weight has gone up again.
Starts to creep up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is like the point where you really need to be the supportive ally to bring the calmness into the discussion. Just make sure that the client is doing all the right things. Give them the information, the science-based information about why the plateau is important. Why is your body doing this? And like taking the anxiety and fear away from the client. So that's super important. But basically, monthly meetings with a personal trainer, a training program that is tailored for them, for their needs. If they have joint pains, would be wonderful.
And so what I love hearing in your description is just really understanding that emotional journey that's going to happen maybe in the first year that a client is taking the GLP-1. So, I can imagine by the time they've come to the doctor, it's taken them a while to get the courage to take the step. And then they take the step. And, I think the other thing that maybe not everyone knows, if they don't have someone in their life that has been on these medications, like there's some serious side effects for some people when they get started. So it's not just like smooth sailing and weight flies off and you're feeling great. Like what are the symptoms that they could be battling against in their first 12 weeks of GLP-1s?
Well, if the dose is raised too high, too quickly, the side effects will be bad. About 95% of my clients do not experience side effects. I have to be
That's
honest
good.
with that. And that is just because we don't raise the dose before they are actually ready.
Okay.
The research protocol that we have that most doctors follow is that you raise the dose up to 1 milligram every 4 weeks. And what I see is that these clients that have been following that protocol come to me when they hit the 1 milligram dose because of the side effects, like the nausea.
Okay.
Some experience diarrhea with the higher doses. You might experience fatigue. You have a lot of feelings of thirst. You need to drink a lot more. When the dose is too high, too quickly, you might also get constipation, lots of symptoms. But the
Yeah.
nausea, I think that is the worst because it
Okay.
really prevents people from eating. And of course, some people stop eating completely
Yeah.
because they're not hungry. It's like a permission to stop eating. Like, hey, I don't need lunch. I don't need dinner. I don't need to eat anything. And then they eat one portion a day and they feel super weak and they start fainting and the weight goes down really rapidly, which gives you
Yeah.
the dopamine. It gives you that reward, but it's not healthy.
No, and here again, I hear the reinforcement of why you need that touch point with a coach, because the other piece that you're talking about is lifestyle coaching. So it's not about their exercise program. We're talking about like probably the pillars of lifestyle medicine, making sure that you're talking about stress and sleep and hydration and emotion and connection with other people, so that that support system is there and there's a global strategy for their well-being, not just the maybe 3 to 5 hours that they may show up in the gym on a weekly basis. So I love the framing of this is not someone you're taking through and pushing through an intense workout as kind of the center of the wheel. This is someone that you're gently bringing on a journey to holistically address lifestyle, wherein the physical activity piece is an important part, and it's probably a part that they need motivation and help with, but it's part of a broader goal. So I think it's really exciting for personal trainers to just be able to think about the bigger picture, and many do. But with this group, the big picture has to be the guidepost, I guess. And when you talk about having people come in to the gym for the first time, like of the people that are in your practice, like what can be expected in terms of level of previous activity, body awareness, condition level, possible injuries or limitations? Like what does the trainer need to think about in terms of that?
Yeah. Most of my clients, most of the GLP-1 clients are beginners when it comes to exercising. They have not had an exercise routine. Some people even really hate exercising because of the pain that it has caused for them historically. For example, I'm a really good example of that. I was an obese child, so I was never chosen for the sports team before the last. Everybody else had been chosen for it. So I learned to really hate sports. I learned that was not for me. I got bad grades because I was obese, even if I was super excited and doing a lot of things. So people learn to hate exercise or learn that it's painful, learn that it's too heavy for them. And so they just don't do it. Most of them are real beginners. There are people who are who are active, then there are people, a really, really small percentage of people who are super active and they are even too active for the goal of weight loss. They do cross training, which is a stress factor for their body. And as we know now, the metabolic adaptation that happens when you train in a high intensity is something that can positively prevent weight loss.
Okay. So while the biggest part of the group is probably an active and a beginner, there could be an outlier that might be overtraining and or not doing the type of training that is going to support long-term weight loss and actually not support positive stress, but going to support negative stress because of the style and the type, and maybe the character of the person who is enthusiastic but not connecting those dots. Okay.
Yeah. For some people, sports can be a coping mechanism too. It can be something that really helps you escape the reality.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is true. I mean, I think as humans, we do our best to find ways to escape in many ways, and even well-meaning ways can become a double-edged sword after a while. So we have talked about like the business case of attracting this market segment within fitness. And I know like you have your own personal experience and you have the feedback of your clients, and like the fitness sector has never really succeeded at serving populations with special needs. And there's a growing group of us within the fitness sector that is really clear that, who we are targeting and what we are facilitating is the fit people getting fitter. So what does the fitness industry need to do to reach this group, and what needs to change for them to attract this group of people?
That's a really good question. And there's a lot that needs to happen.
Okay.
I think there's a big gap in the industry, the fact that it's not inclusive. It is, like you said, it's only inclusive for the people who are active, who are fit, for whom the culture and the advertisement where you have this really fit, muscular person, a woman or a man, sweating, maybe not even smiling, and doing like push-ups with one hand, that is intimidating for a person that is not there yet. It's like, for me, I see pain, I see discomfort. I think when I see that picture, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not going to do that. And so it's like actively pushing these people away. So maybe adding inclusivity in marketing, in language, having more acceptance for people being as beginners, creating beginner groups. It is very, very easy to have these beginner groups where you guide 10 people in the gym, you show them the equipment that you have, you give them possible ways of training, possible fitness routines, also accepting that everybody do not have the time and the resources to go to the gym 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Like, even for me, even if my children are almost adults, I just don't have the time. And when you put that kind of pressure on anyone that is a beginner, and especially for the perfectionists, like obesity clients who have learned to do everything perfectly and push forward, even if they shouldn't push, that's just going to make things worse. So accepting the thing that some people come there once a week, some people come there twice a month, some people only have time for 15 minutes of exercising, and some people will have to skip a month of training because they are just so busy, or their children are sick, or things like that. To accept the life that happens around the gym.
I'm going back to that answer that you gave about your reflection of your sport experience as an obese child. And I'm like, okay, if I look at the fitness industry messaging through the lens of someone who found sports painful and was on the wrong side of exclusion of that group, and then I take that and then I look at the fitness marketing and the messaging, and even the club setup, in terms of, when you have like these spectacular functional areas, they can be incredibly overwhelming because you're like, okay, if I don't know what to do, where do I go here? So I think that you've got to look at the position of your messaging and your brand. I love your idea of having beginner classes. And I think that some gyms do orientation sessions, but could you imagine if that was like a standing thing? Like, there's a standing beginner circuit, at 6 p.m. on Mondays and maybe Fridays. just gives me something to do that I know that I'm going to be able to successfully accomplish, ask questions if I need to, and no one's going to push me out of my comfort zone, which I'm not ready to do yet. It's just about showing up. And then that other thing, and I think this is something that we really need to reflect on as a sector, is that pressure of coming in more often. Because like I wouldn't make it to the gym 3 times a week. I exercise in my garage. Like that's how I can make fitness work in my day, because there's no way I would have time to do the turnaround that it takes for the gym. And many fitness operators have digital services, online offerings, so that works within the whole package. But then again, the language around showing up has to be everything counts, not more, more, more. So for me, that is really profound, is like understand where this group of people is coming from and how far away that is from the fitness enthusiast, which is what's currently designed for. And I think, and this is just a little bit of a sidebar, and I'm wondering if you're seeing this as well. Like a few years ago, the body positivity movement was everywhere. You were seeing even plus size models on runways, on magazine covers. And since GLP-1s came out, body positivity like evaporated overnight. Like, is this just me, or is this something
Yeah,
that you've observed? And do you know
it
why?
is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is something that I've observed too, unfortunately, yes. And I think that we've moved to a direction where you need to get below the BMI 25 to be in a normal weight range. Everybody wants to be there,
Mm-hmm.
even if their starting point is BMI 50. It is now a norm that, or it's more of a social pressure that these medications now give us, that now that we have these medications, everybody should be lean. Everybody should be skinny and healthy. And obesity shouldn't exist anymore. Whereas the reality is that it just doesn't happen overnight like that. We will still have the people who start with BMI 50, and if they get down to BMI 40, we're super happy, because that
Yeah.
is a big metabolic change for good. And they will still be obese. It will still be normal that we live in bigger bodies. Women will still gain weight during perimenopause. And so, like, the model of a female body being that skinny, childlike body without the tummy, without anything, that is unrealistic. And now we're moving very far away from the realistic body that we actually live in. That is really intimidating, really sad.
Yeah, I think it just puts the focus on the wrong thing. I mean, we don't focus on the right thing because we're chasing something that's impossible and, very likely at this point AI generated. So have you seen examples of people that are connecting these dots well, that are working with the obesity group of people, and also collaborating with the medical professionals that are working as, like, are they working as a team? Does this exist?
I'm sad to say, but not really. I've seen a
Okay.
few personal trainers, individual personal trainers here in Finland, who really have the emotional intelligence, who are able to make that safe container, take the discussion and the focus away from your body weight or the body figure into health and strength. But even they don't have all the knowledge that would help them make the changes. I work with a psychologist and a nutritional therapist myself, and the psychologist happens to be a yoga teacher. So there is one person who has a really, really wide knowledge on obesity, on eating disorders, and on the psychological side and emotional side of obesity healing and eating disorders. And so she may be one of the only
You.
people on earth that I know.
I mean, you've just defined the gap for why you've designed the Obesity Coaching Academy. So, can you tell us a little bit about how the course works, how you see it being used, and like what does a good partnership look like to you?
Yeah. So what happens in the course, it's a 6-month training for the
Hmm.
trainers. So it's a very deep level training, has everything from
Great.
obesity, emotional side, psychological side. One of the most important aspects is to learn to speak in a non-stigmatized language in a way that is safe. that you hold a safe container, you let the other person be vulnerable. So you have weekly sessions with the body where you really need to train this. It's a deep level course, gives you a lot of clinical information, but it's not too deep. It's not too difficult for a person to understand, but you need to understand the basics so that when you give information or health advice to your clients, you need to know what you're talking about.
Sure.
And that's not the only thing. So the personal trainers, yes, they get trained, but then we also have the new client pathways for the gym, for the health club, for the fitness club. So we help them build new client pathways that are tailored for blood pressure disease patients, for people who want to lose weight, for people who are going through hormonal changes, recovering from birth giving or something like that. It's important that you have the specific pathways for these clients so that they actually feel seen and heard. So the ideal partnership, it consists of the two parties that both work to create the perfect solution for the end user, the client that walks in the gym doors. And they both have to think about the health outcomes, not just revenue. That's the most important thing. And the trainers go through a very deep level, rigorous 6-month training that encompasses the basic clinical knowledge from all the lifestyle diseases, obesity, a really deep level of emotional and psychological change that happens when you're healing from obesity or when you're making lifestyle changes. It helps you to learn the basics of motivational interview. There is an obligatory session weekly with your body where you have to train the language, which is non-stigmatized, where you hold a space for a situation that might be really vulnerable for the other person. And there are client pathways which the business owner will have to implement into their business. We will give them the frameworks, how this works, what is the onboarding session like, the question patterns, everything that will help them create these trusting relationships with the new kind of clients, with these clients that need health outcomes more than just the fitness routine.
Right.
And you have to have tailored pathways for all of them. For example, for a person who has a high blood pressure, you have to have different kind of advice that the personal trainer will give them, a different kind of path than for a person who is battling with obesity.
I love this. How does it loop back to the medical practitioner? Like, how does the trainer then work with the client's doctor?
Well, that hopefully will be the future of fitness, because I would love for us to be able to send our clients to the gym, and then the gym trainer would be able to send the clients back to the doctor when needed. But the doctor would take care of the clinical side of it, to check the labs, to prescribe the medication, adjust the medication when needed, and then again send the client with these new medications or with the new information of where they are at to the personal trainer, saying that, okay, you need to do a little bit more of this in order to achieve that. And it would be seamless. I would love to have a seamless communication pathway between the clinic and the gym or the health club. And that really only works when you have like certain health clinics that are connected to certain fitness clubs, that you really have like collaboration between the two.
And imagine in the fitness center closest to you that you had a full team of personal trainers that had completed the Obesity Coaching Academy. Would that change the way that you could now work with your clients? Like, would you feel like you could accomplish what you just described?
Definitely. I would have the courage to send my clients there. I would just give them the instructions to go and get any personal trainer, anyone that feels good for you, and get advice on XYZ, whatever needs to change. And then I would have the trust that whatever happens in the gym is going to take them towards health and not away from it. That the advice that they're going to get is not actively harmful, that it's really going to help them achieve the results.
And for the fitness sector, and I just want to repeat this because I think it's a message that we really need to understand, is understanding the unconscious stigma that we have, the unconscious judgment that we have, that has to be peeled back, that we as professionals need to work on within ourselves so that we can be a safe container for and a safe space for this clientele. Like that's step one. And that's addressed in the course. And I think this is that bridge that we've been looking for, as long as I've been in the fitness sector. Like the reason that we're not getting referrals from medical professionals is they don't trust that it's necessarily going to be a positive health outcome consistently or a safe situation for the clientele. So the solution has come from a doctor who understands the clientele and understands the gap. So you've actually built that bridge from the health side of things, and I'm so excited about it because it's so necessary, and I'm really hoping it's going to be a transformative factor for the sector itself, because I think in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, it has the highest fitness market penetration, close to 20% of the population. That's 20% of the population. This is not 50% of the population. And we know that, from the WHO information, that most adults are inactive. Like I think it's more than 60% of adults are inactive. So we have to build the bridge to that 60%, and continuing to do what we do is not going to build the bridge to that 60%. So, thank you so much for being so honest and gently honest with the work that needs to be done, and also representing this group of people and their needs. I'm very, very excited about the Obesity Coaching Academy. Can you give more information on where to find you, where to find it? Like, how do people get involved if they want to?
Yes, yeah. Just go to our website, ocaofficial.com. You can connect us there. You can fill the form, the connection form. I would love to have just a discussion with gym owners, a non-sales discussion about what you can do, and connect with me in LinkedIn. Come and see me in Madrid in different
Beyond Active,
fitness
yes.
events. I will be there, and I am very much willing to work with anyone who wants to bring this to their gym floor. The change is already happening. The Health and Fitness Association is actively promoting for this. So this is a change that you cannot bypass. It's
No.
change that you have to be an active part of. And I would love to help you do that. Like their success, the client success, the health outcomes. If we're able to do that, I don't need anything else. I've won. I've done my job.
Yeah. I mean, you're changing the total addressable market for the fitness sector, really, truly,
Definitely.
because we've never built this bridge. So I think that's truly exciting. Well, the last question we have for all of our guests, one of the things that we do at the collective is amplifying women doing great work to close the health and leadership gap. You're one of those women. But is there someone in your network who deserves to be spotlighted and recognized? Who are they and what are they doing?
Well, it's another Finnish lady.
Wonderful.
She is Johanna Riihijärvi from Liikku. I don't know her personally, but I know what she's done. So she has started a gym chain in Finland about 10 years ago, a little more or less. And she's made it one of the biggest gym chains in 10 years. But what she does there is that she has made it a safe space for women especially. And I love it for her. Like she has designed the gym floor so that you're not bending over and showing your butt to other people when you're doing your workout. You don't have to feel insecure when you're doing something like you're sitting in a thigh machine or something like that. And she really talks about bringing movement to the people, like to the grass level of people, not just bringing people into her gym, but to how can we actively create movement, create health. And I really love that for her.
That's a wonderful example. And of course, like this is another safety element to flag for the gym, is like body positioning and body exposure with different exercises, something that I think we take for granted. But if you're very conscious about your body, you're not. So that's a wonderful shout out. Well, I look forward to seeing you in real life in Madrid. Thank you so much for your time, your expertise, and all that you're doing.
Thank you for having me here. And let's get going. Let's get this work going.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Connecting the Dots. If today's conversation gave you something to think about, share it with someone who'd enjoy it too. You can find all of our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you follow the show, leave a rating. It helps more people discover our work. Until next time, keep connecting the dots and keep building the future you want to see.